Hello everyone, welcome to Block and Key. Today's June 26th, 2019, and today I want to discuss how Bitcoin continues to go parabolic. It almost touched 13,000 US today, and I wanted to touch upon that to see if we're going to continue up to break new all-time highs, or is this similar to something we've seen before in 2017? So stay tuned, we'll be back to discuss that in just a moment. See you soon. Block and Key. So as you can see, we did get almost up to 13,000. Not sure the exact target that was almost hit, but it was just shy of 13,000. Bitcoin is still continuing to go parabolic. This is one of the biggest pumps yet we've seen this year. This looks a lot to me like late 2017. And so I want to just touch upon that and a few other things as well, getting back into this chart. I'm seeing massive exuberance here all over the crypto space, especially on YouTube. I'm sure Twitter, I'm not really too active on Twitter, but I'm sure Twitter's pretty erratic as well. I'm seeing a lot of calls for 100,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year, 80,000. People are calling for these outrageous numbers that we've seen before, and it's, to me, this is nothing but pure FOMO. Is this institutional investment that's mainly driving this market? Probably, but we've seen something similar to this before that I'm going to discuss back in around late October when it was officially announced that the CME is going to be launching Bitcoin Futures. We've seen this pullback, and I believe a lot of this here had to do with the institutional investors that were going to come in, and even back then we're going to 100,000. So as we know, what happens before any of these large institutional players come in, we do see an accumulation phase of this asset and usually a subsequent dump. So I know a lot of people believe that institutions are all going to come in and it's going to drive this price through the roof. There's probably some truth to that, but I don't believe it's going to happen right this moment. I was wrong earlier in the year. I suspected once we got into May, June, we'd only get up to around the 5,000 region. Obviously, that's no longer in the cards because we continue to go on this parabolic rise. I'm still expecting a massive correction. If it doesn't, then I'll be mistaken. But to me, this is not sustainable in any way, shape, or form. This looks almost exactly like what we were seeing back in here, and I don't believe it's a coincidence. Yesterday, LedgerX it was announced that LedgerX is going to be offering a backed Bitcoin futures. It was approved by the CFTC, and I think a lot of this is probably what's driving this market. And a lot of this accumulation. They probably already knew, people on the inside already knew that it was going to be approved, so they are accumulating. Are these institutional players just going to buy and hold like us hodlers? I don't think so. I think they're just going to create a market. They're buying up as much of this asset as they possibly can, and once the market's established, you can always short it, and which allows for gains as well. So this $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year, we're only 6 months away. I just want to give you a perspective on this. So if I take this out here, we increase this down. I'm going to show you what 100,000 Bitcoin by 2020 actually looks like. To me, I just don't think that's possible. Well, I guess anything's possible, but is it probable? I don't believe so. So this is 20,000, our all-time high. Here's 2020. If we were to get $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year, what you would have to expect is that this line is going to go something like this. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible, but is something like this really probable? To me, this is just irrational exuberance. I don't I just don't. I guess it could. I guess it could. If it does, I'll be a very happy man. I will officially never have to work again, probably for the rest of my life if I don't want to. But I guess we'll have to see. But when I come back here, I want to discuss what I believe is happening and what you need to watch out for. Again, this isn't financial advice, but something you might want to be very cautious of. So back in 2017, as I showed you in the chart there just previously, it was around the late October that the CME group announces the launch of Bitcoin Futures. And you can see here it's dated Tuesday, October 31st, 2017. CME Group, the world's leading and most diverse derivatives marketplace, today announced it intends to launch Bitcoin Futures in the fourth quarter of 2017, pending all relevant regulatory review periods. And as you know, it was very shortly after that in November that we just seen the Bitcoin price just go parabolic. That's when we were hearing this euphoria of 100,000 Bitcoin. Finally, the institutions are coming in. This is in the last part of the Bitcoin bull run. This time around, it is a little bit different. It looks like we're starting this new phase of the Bitcoin cycle, but yet we've gone parabolic. Like, this is one of the biggest advances I've seen in a long time, since probably 2017. I don't think it's sustainable myself, but that's just my opinion. This is something, again, I'm not touching Bitcoin with a 10-foot pole right now. To me, it's just crazy. And I warned about this before in the summer of 2017, that when things looked like it was getting out of hand. I was a little bit early to that, but it indeed did pop in spectacular fashion. This is from AMBCrypto. This is published about 6 hours ago today, again, June 26th. Bitcoin breaks the 12,000 mark for the first time. As I said now, I think it's around 12,400, something like that. So yeah, but they even mentioned it in here as well. January 2018 bull run, when the price shot up from 10,000 to close to 12,000 in a matter of days as the regulated futures exchange came to the fore. So this is talking about when the CME launched their futures. This is when things really went parabolic and people were calling for outrageous prices. This isn't the first time we've seen a parabolic move like this. But for me, I'm not buying a single Satoshi at these prices. I think it's crazy. I'll just hodl on to my main position and wait to ride this out. I was hoping to see it retrace around this time. It is June 26th. I thought for sure by now it would start to correct massively. It looks like now I'm going to probably have to wait for July. I'm still expecting a massive correction. Some people are calling minimum of 30 to 40%. I would like to at least see 50%, just because I'd like to be able to buy some, enter in Bitcoin when it's a little bit cheaper, around my initial 5,500 to 6K mark. I don't know if we're going to get that this time though, but because everything's off the table with a parabolic rise like this. Another thing that you need to be aware of is market manipulation. Now, it happens in every market, but here's an example. This was just came out Tuesday, which was yesterday, June 25th. And this is from the United States Department of Justice. And I was in precious metals many years ago, and we always knew the price was being rigged, but we couldn't prove it, and no one seemed to really investigate it. However, it looks like they're starting to take notice and do something about it. Merril Lynch Commodities Inc. enters into corporate resolution, agrees to pay $25 million in connection with deceptive trading practices. So this is just from yesterday, and I have another article I want to touch upon as well. But Merril Lynch Commodities Inc., a global commodities trading business, has agreed to pay $25 million, which is peanuts to these people, to resolve the government's investigation into a multi-year scheme by LMCI precious metals traders to mislead the market for precious metals futures contracts traded on the Commodity Exchange Inc. According to MLCI's admissions, beginning by late 2008, so that's a long time ago. This is how long it took the regulatory authorities to finally get onto this scheme and crack down on it. And continuing through 2014, precious metals traders employed by MLCI schemed to deceive other market participants by injecting materially false and misleading information into the precious metals futures market. So this is known, this is again, isn't a conspiracy. This is from the United States Department of Justice, published yesterday. Here's another one with JP Morgan, one of the biggest market riggers for the precious metal space probably on planet Earth, maybe next to Deutsche Bank. Now this is dated November 13th, 2018, so not too long ago, late last year. How ex-JP Morgan silver trader's guilty plea could boost manipulation claim against bank. John Edmonds, a 36-year-old Brooklyn resident, pleaded guilty in October to fraudulently manipulating the precious metals markets from 2009 to 2015. Nearly 4 years ago, a New York lawyer sued JP Morgan on behalf of 3 traders, accusing the bank of manipulating the silver futures market from 2010 through 2011, costing his clients $30 million in losses. So these types of things happen all the time, and I wouldn't be surprised that what we're seeing here now with regards to this is probably something similar. This parabolic rise isn't unreal. And yes, I would agree it's probably institutional investors coming in, but what happens even if we get up to touch our all-time high? I wouldn't be surprised we see another cascade down again. Even though I know the halving's coming up and everything else, but this parabolic rise is just unbelievable. And it wouldn't be surprising to me at all in the least if what we're seeing is more market manipulation. So I'm going to keep this video short. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just want to get this out there. Again, this isn't financial advice, but if you're attempting to FOMO into this market, believing it's going to $100,000, like you're telling this parabola is just, I'd be very, very cautious. I think we're going to roll over, and we're going to roll over hard. Obviously, it's not happening like I predicted, but I don't believe it's a coincidence. LedgerX does finally get authorized by the CFTC to open a physically backed Bitcoin futures. We're just seeing a repeat of exactly what happened, in my opinion, what happened with CME Group. Yes, they are buying it up, but they'll also drive it back down and create a market. So thanks for watching. Until next time, have a great day. Cheers.